918. Hey, 918, you're putting it down, man, open the stream. 918.35. Round my base station, come out.
Breaker, 429.83, go.
Hey, check, it, 918, man, I like how you put it down, man, open no stream. You walking, and you kicking the cat. You walk the dog and you kick the cat. 918.35.
Good evening, 429.83, said aloha, breaker. 429, quarter one. 429, quarter one, there for the station, and I got it waving, aloha.
Check, man, I tell you what, man. We spoke no one to the show, 99, whoop, whoop. 9 in the shack, 99 in the shack, 82.
Roy Bug, just Leonard, no doubt about it. Have a good evening now. 99, always a pleasure. My brother, have a wave right back with you. Aloha. What, west side of the guy? What, west side of the guy working his barefoot? Yellow. 99, trip share, bye.
All right, we'll give it a shot. I think the Pineapple Express, as they call it, is working the gray line tonight.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, I'm probably being heard somewhere, maybe down the street. I think that's as much as we're getting tonight. Down the street, lots of skipland. Been running around the location here, trying to make sure that everyone is where they should be, doing what they want to do, and that we are ready for your Old Tube Radio Network. Association of people interested in the distribution of information about old tube radios and even putting them on the air for us. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. OTR has been on the air since the mid-1980s, believe it or not, on a Saturday evening. Most Saturday evenings here at 8 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. My name is Dennis. I'm one of the many net controllers sitting in the air chair tonight to take your check-ins and see who is out there. Right now, cycle 25, even though our sunspots are a little bit lower, we do have some conditions. Will we have the conditions tonight to hear you? We'll find out. Thanks for joining us. We start the net with a direct net roll call. Shortwave listeners and those who are tuned in at oldtuberadio.net or perhaps watching us on the video portion, we will say hello to you. And after that, our local and maybe not so local, if the conditions are good tonight, tube radio operators will stop by and they'll give you the sound that was the 11-meter Class D radio service in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s when tube radios were the thing, and they are the thing tonight. So let me take a break, and we will start the roll call. If you can't get checked in, we will be here past 10 o'clock tonight probably, so you can pop in any time. Go to oldtuberadio.net or over on the video side, and I will make sure that you get checked in.
Wagon burner, smoking, wagon burner, 35, Billy Gas, Breaker.
Going to adjust my audio a little bit. I think we are good. All right, here we go for shortwave number 0. This is the 8th check-in period of our 8-week period, and that would be Mr. Dwayne, who actually, I think they stopped by last night checking in, Dwayne and Chrissy, on their 16th wedding anniversary, so I make sure I will get them in at the appropriate time. I also need my shortwave listener list. So where did it go? Oh, there it is. All right, so we got 00 will be in. SWL number 1 we'll get the cosmic check-in. SWL number 2, Mr. OBP, who is out on the video chat, so say hello to Kevin tonight. One of the guys that started this very net way back when there were actual tube radios on the air that were running as daily drivers. I'm not sure there's that many on there now. SWL number 3, I will get Rob checked in. Over to shortwave listener number 5. From the Hudson Valley, Mr. Rainmaker. I will see, is Levon out there? I don't know. We'll keep an eye out for Levon. I want to see if are there any stations that can hear me that would like to get checked in now through the skip, over?
Yes, I would, Dennis, number 55 and 65 if you can proxy M2. Check in early there, Blake.
All right, we'll pick you up. All right, we've got 55 and 65, so I'll get you guys in there through the skip. Thank you, Eminem, and also get Eric in there. Who else was in, over? Was that Bob, 53?
Yes, it's 53, Bel Air, yeah, I'd like to check in early there, Dennis.
Cat box coconut.
All right, 53, Bob, I've got you checked in early. Also, I heard live and direct, Copenhagen 61. I will get 61 checked in. Anybody else that can hear me would like to get in through the skip here? And a lot of mini grass going on. Joining us live. It's early here, but maybe not so early out there. Hello, Kenny, SWL 69. Kenny, I'm going to get you checked in now. As you can hear, we are having the sun just went down, and we are having some of the what do they call it? Gray line skip going on right now, so we'll get you checked in. Thanks for joining us from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We will continue with the net roll call. The Echo link is up tonight, so we'll be able to get you checked in, and I do believe I've got the crossband up and running, so we'll take some check-ins there as well. Let's go to SWL 7.
SWL 7, checking in.
All right, no problem hearing you from the skip. If the skip is covering you up, we are definitely in bad shape. Sounding good.
Thanks for checking me in.
And there's 5. Hello, Levon. I see you in there. We've got you checked in. Let's go to SWL 10.
A-me machine, A918, get your mind off of Papa Charlie.
Well, there, we're almost getting the 20 dB over. You know when that happens? I'll put up the S meter here. When we get the 20 dB signals, that is usually a sign that the band is about to close. A sign that the band is about to close out. So things could be changing in about 5 minutes. Let's go to shortwave listener 10, SWL 11. 11 and 12, Dan, and of course, Damper Dan. SWL 13, see if Mr. Cobra is in. He often checks in, always checks in over at oldtuberadio.net. There's a way to get in there, leave a comment, and get checked in. I keep an eye out to look for you all out that way. How about Sanger, SWL 14? All right, might be a little bit early to and a little bit noisy to hear Sanger right now, but we'll be around and about to get you all in. Let's go to SWL 16. And of course, I do believe Charlie is there, adjusting the lights. How's the tie tonight? Tie is looking good. Yeah, I did a better knot this week, so we are okay. Thank you for checking in. Oh, and I've got to check. It says you didn't check me in. Well, I have to click this button, and then it will say that you are checked in. All right. And Honolulu. Let's try SWL 17. SWL 18. I'll get Mikey checked in. Mr. KDA from Facebook. On the cue cards tonight, you didn't say anything about the skip. Well, that's sort of, I guess, something that we should expect here as Cycle 25 comes up and the sun starts going up later. Derby, New York, by way of Belfast, Maine. And you've got the big seat tonight on the roster. You're on the top. Did you? Did you trade something to do that? I don't know. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chet. We've got you checked in. Let's go to SWL 20.
Hey, number 20 here. Hopefully you can hear me. You blend in a little bit with the skip. Please check me in, 29 and 54, and I will have a radio of interest tonight.
All right, boy, you're sounding good. You're way above the skip. Nice 5/9 signal, nice audio, and a radio of interest is a good thing on a Saturday evening. I've got you checked in. Over.
Roger. Okie doke. Yeah, I'll have a radio of interest.
Right back 343, man. You doing a fine trip yourself? Hey, take care. God bless. Hope you have a good weekend. 343 around Northern Cal, 777.
All right, we're getting. They're talking to Northern Cal. The mini grass is talking to Northern Cal, and Central California is trying to talk to Central Cal and having a hard time. Harvey, got you checked in. We will look for your radio antics coming up. I want to say hello to Chrissy and also Dwayne, so we would get 00 checked in with the proper X in the square, and likewise SWL number 10. Thanks for joining us tonight. Bing, bing. SWL 21, Mr. JT, out of the Wasama Swamps, on ORN tonight with the great radio, one that we used to get checked in all the time here on the old Tube Radio Network, but that we seldom hear now, and I'm not sure why that is. But what I'll do is we'll listen to it. It's the Courier Royale, and he was on the Black Cat reverse preamp tonight. Let me see if I can get a little bit of audio coming from moments ago.
It work, but
on old radio
work
night.
in people's minds.
10-4. Well, I'll bring one to you, and you can do it over there, and then I can pick it up.
Well, we'll talk about it. It has to be, certain kinds. Well, I can do it probably with just about any 70s or 80s or maybe probably even 90s PLL radio, but
And that Black Cat is a very unassuming reverse preamp. It almost looks like a lockbox for your keys or something with a meter on it. But working the room, the Courier Royale looking nice. Old radio night. If you haven't checked it out before, you should, and I know a lot of you that were making your appearances on Old Radio Night have jumped over here to the Old Tube Radio Network, staying up late with us tonight, Saturday evening. We appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. Looking good, Mr. JT. Will we hear Alaska tonight? Maybe direct. I don't see Tyler on the Echo link, but he could be out there shortly.
Downtown.
And just a note, if you're listening, you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network here in the Central Valley of California. We are doing a live stream at www.oldtuberadio.net. There's a video that goes on as well. And the reason we do that is to promote the use and distribute information about the classic tube radios on your 11-meter Citizen Band radio service. We'll be doing that shortly. Looking for 23 Skidoo, who is out there, perhaps like you would shovel snow off the driveway to clear the path. I think he's out shoveling the skip off of the antenna, so they will be able to hear those tube radios when they check in. How about SWL number 24? I think that was 24. There was no audio. Over.
24 checking in.
All right, big time audio that time. We've got you checked in, and thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network. Signals are dropping with an occasional big signal. SWL 25. Hello, Madera Flats, over. Get a proxy check in for 25. Let's go to page 2, SWL 27. Now, I'm going to get Dwayne checked in. He did the Wednesday night net and is always putting in a good almost 40 over signal here at this location. So we'll get Dwayne checked in. SWL 28 looking for Gary in Sacramento. You can hear Gary if you're listening to your over-the-air 11-meter radio. The mini grasses. Big here in the Central Valley. They're talking to the North State guys, so tell your neighbors to quiet down so we can hear the Old Tube Radio Network. Gary's checking in. He was watching WrestleMania and hoping that Gorilla Monson would show up. Well, Kenji Shibuya is rooting him on, so maybe he will be there. I will get the X and the square. And we will see. Maybe Freddie Blassie will come in with an Old Tube Radio tonight. Sounding good, looking good, Gary. We've got you checked in.
Breaking ball 26, deep in the west of Honolulu.
I've got a proxy check in for Mr. Loner and 00, a.k.a. SWL30. Dwayne is checked in. Looking good for an 8-week run. I think your number will be back in the little hopper, so maybe you'll get another 8 weeks. We will find out next week when somebody draws those numbers out of the hat. Let me say hello to our listeners over at oldtuberadio.net. The unknown SWL just coming in the door out there on the balcony. Hello to Kerman, Dallas, Georgia, coming up to you. Fairfax, Virginia, thanks so much. Woodland Park, Colorado, listening to the skip from north, south, east, and west. Squamish, BC. You know what? We're going to try it again. You guys sounded so great last time direct on 11 meters. We're going to bring, maybe when the skip dies down a little bit, we're going to bring up the receiver up there. So have your radios ready up there in Squamish. We're going to listen in for you. Hello to Logan, Ohio. Our friends where it is early on a Sunday morning, joining us, waiting for, as we all are, those great tube radios to fire up, and we should have a few of them tonight. So thank you, Hans. Alpha 173, Copenhagen, sounding so good. Thanks for joining us. Inez, Kentucky, stations from Fresno, and a host of others. We'll get Van Man checked in as well. Your Old Tube Radio Network continuing with the direct and net roll call. I wonder if, Hans, you get, when the sun comes up, what skip you hear. Where you are at, you will hear the East Coast guys, probably out of New York, New Jersey, you know, along the East Coast. It'd be very hard for you to hear the West Coast guys, but you never know. That's cycle 25 for you. Looking for SWL 31? SWL 32? And Jimmy's in 34. Jimmy, do you have a radio set up? Do you have an 11-meter radio set up? We've got a receiver out your way, and I'm not sure how it's sounding, what the skip is like going on right now. I'm gonna bring it up. We're gonna see if we can't bring up the Batavia receiver going on, and I'll keep that in the background. So if you've got your 11-meter radio fired up, it should be fairly quiet where you're at. Get your 11-meter radio fired up, and we'll see if we can't hear you direct. On 27085, head over to channel 11. Going to SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control. You're turning off my lights there, Bozo. BC, yeah, and all the gang here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
When Baker.
SWL 34 Jimmy, Captain Chaos, all the toots little and big, standing by. And I've got the receiver near you. It may be horizontally polarized, but if you're close enough with a decent signal, if you get on 11 meters at 27085 channel 11, just might hear you. Okay, can't get on right now. No problem. No problem. You come back and you can let me know. Because the receiver is active. Looks like it's working okay, so we'll see if we can't get a live and direct contact on the remote receiver. Let's go to shortwave listener 35, and that is Bill out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. I see it from last week, Bill. I'm going to refresh my comments to make sure that if you are there, we will get you. Over to. I wonder if anybody's hearing me. There is a lot of skip. Listen to that. Listen to that. That's what's happening here on the West Coast. SWL 36.
Audio.
SWL 37. I can hear you, believe it or not. I hear you coming in on with the pineapples chasing you behind. Over.
Oh, good, Brian. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We got you checked in. All right, thanks, Jim. I kind of sprung that on you, but I just found the remote item. But we might give that a try next week. So have your selected best 11-meter radio. We'll try channel 11. At this time, I notice there's not much skip going on where you're at. Of course, it's noisy here, but we might be able to pick you up direct and take a transmission here on the old tube radio network. So that should be something interesting. We tried it with the Albert and the Squamish gang out there. It worked really great. He's up in British Columbia. So we'll see if the polarization will work. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jim. Let's go to SWL 38.
I just want to get in. Hey, 38, I just wanted to jump in there and let you know you're showing up in Hawaii, man. 38 Delta 19, you're showing up in Honolulu, Hawaii. 38 Delta 19 gone. Live days, man.
All right, and it sounds like Delta 19 is talking to 38. Maybe we can get the check-in via the mini-grass, the Old Tube Radio Network, streaming live at www.oldtuberadio.net on, what do they call it, a water gate, an audio gate. The video gate's running as well, and we are waiting for those tube radios. Sam, I'm gonna get you checked in. Maybe you're doing it by the 1,000-mile hop from the mini-grass. Let's try SWL 39.
Cue ball, my small fine audio speak 1035, waiting by.
There is some not so good audio. SWL 40.
Yeah, I'm cruising his Mobile. Cue ball, Mobile, I'm cruising the mess. Break.
Yeah, we can get relays from Hawaii, but if we want to talk down the street, it's a little bit hard to do. SWL 41. From beautiful New York. Checking in, of course, Hudson Valley, New York, saying good evening to everyone. Thank you, 507. Got you checked in. SWL 42.
Bye. I don't know about you, but I copy those looking good out in my radio, man.
SWL 43. I got a proxy check in for Crazy Eddie. SWL 44, I'm going to get 360 checked in. He was relaying last night on the Ditch Banks sideband net for all sorts of stations. Sounding good here in the Midtown Fresno. SWL 45, hello, Paul.
Check. Hey, 99.
I'm going to get Paul checked in. I know he can't hear me probably right now, but he is out there listening, perhaps over the Universal Media Net Web. SWL 46. SWL 47.
47 from the Radio Lounge, boys.
Yeah, you brought them all in there, 47. I hear you. You're doing okay. We're getting the swan dive on the gray line, so it's making it rough. But If you've got a radio later on, we will definitely be able to hear you. Over. SWL 48.
Coming into Thunder. 49. I have 49 here in Sweet Country Mama, trying to break through that mess in the Mobile from Sunnyside. Official Xmas Star. Hello, Dennis. Big hello to all who are out there tonight. Hope you guys are having a good night.
All right, hello 49. That's the way to do it, because I think most of Mini-Grass are out in their mobile radios with one tire into the ocean and the antennas beaconing. So you and Sweet Country Mama are sounding good. SWL 49 is definitely checked in from the mobile radio. Over. All right, very good. 73. Thanks for checking in. How about SWL 50, 50?
Hey, Porky, 25 watts is getting through there. Take care, Porky, on your 25.
All right, we got 25 watts. How about SWL 50? Hello, Mark, over. Probably gave up. I see 96. Dennis, I see you in there. Let me get you checked in now while you are on the Universal Media NetWeb. Yeah, we can make it to Hawaii, but we can't make it to Kerman. 96 is checked in. SWL 51 out in Sangertown.
SWL 51.
All right, now we got him from down under. All right, 51. I heard you actually live and direct. It's on the recording. You broke through that little section through the skips. So thank you, Dave. 305 is in. You know what? When all else fails, change your frequency and change your mode. Let's see if we can get a check-in from SWL 52, listening on the crossband. Skip is going crazy. KB6GFK.
Bluefin in the Mini-Grass. Bluefin in the Mini-Grass.
Dennis, live and direct, and from behind the golden microphone, SWL 52 on the crossband, bypassing all that nonsense on the lower band.
And there is the check-in. You are sounding great. FM sometimes works. Sometimes you have to multiply your frequency by, 5 times or something to get it to work. Thanks for the check-in. KB6GFD.
Hippopotamus, I hear you out there, Hippopotamus. You're sure making some noise.
From the crossband, Aaron, SWL 52 checking in. Let's go to 53 checked in earlier, Mr. Belair. Going over to page 3. While nobody can hear me, let me say hello to our stations joining us on the video side. Foxman 362, of course. Neutral observation, I believe, over on what they call the coast of California. Night Owl enjoying an evening with the tube radios, as we all are and will be when they start checking in from near and far out. 483 is in there. Hello, Rusty Rails. John will be coming up to you. UDX 483, Mr. Mud Ducket. The Mud Bucket, Rusty Rails. I'm thinking of those ducats that they talk about on out in the Mini-Grass. I'm just trying to see what is going on out tonight. Dwayne is in, of course. Chrissy is having a good time. Hey, there's 23 Skidoo. I missed you. I missed the go-around. So tonight, he's checking in from the Espresso Trucking Company tour bus. That's the one that has, not only does it have a lot of transmitting antennas on it for various frequencies, but it has those special wheel covers. You can always tell the ETC tour bus. They're on their way to the Golden Corral for all-you-can-eat buffet, and someone has probably tipped the Golden Corral off, so they may be closing the doors. So get there in time, see what happens. The guys are starting after the matinee. Oh, they're starting after the matinee gig at the San Bernardino Mall. So You never know. Maybe they will, in future, not too distant future, make their way up Highway 99 to Central California, and we'll get a performance. Anyway, drive safely out there. Don't forget to tip the waitress really big if she lets you in, and we'll see more from 23 Skidoo. Thanks.
218 out of Palm Springs, California. 218 Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder in the mini grass, right back. Maker.
All right, just trying to get all my paperwork together. The Old Tube Radio Network. Real Radio's coming up, oldtuberadio.net, and a host of others going on here.
And 283.
And Sam saying that definitely was 38 getting the relay. So why is it? That's how it works. You get a big station and you can talk 2,000 miles, but you can't talk 20 miles. Continuing the roll call, we're on page 3 if you're playing the home game, and I will get a cosmic check-in for SWL 54. SWL 55 checked in moments ago. Now, here's the test. Can this guy hear me who's down the street? Am I being blocked by the skip? SWL 56.
Check in. 56, just for skips. Big old mouth.
Man, don't you know it? Just when you think the gray line is over, it's not over until it's over there. Thank you, Grandpa.
2.
We were talking about big power stations. Sam, out there in, where are you, Sam? I forgot. Byron, California, not too far from me. Big station, doing the skip check-in. Another big station joining us now from, is it Cape Creek? I probably got that wrong. Out of Arizona. With if he was on 11 meters, he might have like 6 over 6 over 6. He might have one of those stack 18-element antennas, and no doubt he would be shutting down the mini grass right now. Radio Randy, I'm going to get you checked in now. Joining us. I don't know what's going on down on 199. I was there earlier listening to you all. Oh, and I got the email, by the way. Thanks for that. I didn't realize you were correct when you said this is like the college tutorial. I looked at that and it's like, oh my gosh. So I am going to earn my 1 unit of credit by looking to that, and maybe I will glean some information on the anon that I don't have. Radio Randy beaconing on the YouTube site, and we will hear you, no doubt, when Cycle 25 does its thing. Thanks for joining us tonight, SWL 99. Did I get you? No. Let me make it official with the check-in box up there. Directed net roll calls where we are at on the Old Tube Radio Network. And we are on page 4, and we are looking for SWL 57.
Oh, I see you, bye.
And BDA probably thought, he's never going to get there. But we might not be hearing Central Kentucky now. Although when just before the net, I made some contacts with Wisconsin and up that way. So the band changes around. Anyway. 57 would like to wish his beautiful XYL, Mrs. BDA, a wonderful birthday. Hello, radio, as we say on the two-way, and happy birthday. I hope you guys are having a great celebration out there. And he says, radio brought them together. How many of you met your significant other via the radio? Raise your hand. Yeah, there are some of you out there, I know, and it's a good thing. I mean, you have something in common. like some of us, we have to hide, right? It's like sneaking. We have to sneak in the radio, but not so. Not so when you have a relationship like that. Very cool. So happy birthday to Lady 57, and glad you're having a strawberry poke cake again this weekend. Thanks for joining us and letting us celebrate with you. Let's go to SWL 58. I got a proxy for that guy. He's going to owe me. He's going to owe me a good transmission when he actually gets on the air here locally. SWL 59.
There's one left. Hey, Porky, don't give away anymore.
SWL 59, Uncle Hairball, he's checking in for the entire month of April. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The entire month of April and May. So I will be sure to get an X in the square right now. Thank you there, 59. Let's go to SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis. Above on his wrap up there.
I cranked her up a little bit just in case, see if I can make the trip. SWL60 saying good evening to all the fellas, and we're checking in.
All right, not only did they hear you in Clovis, Fresno, Minkler, San Joaquin, Yedem, Riverdale, they heard you in the Mini-Grass with all that extra flavor on your audio. 60, you are checked in. Over.
Thank you much. Well, we cranked it up just a taste anyway. Be on the safe side.
Bye, Porky. Cuba. Bye, Porky. Click.
All right, let's see. Larry, 785. I see you there. Let me go back over to page 2. Get the X in the square for 40. Now, the nice thing about 785, if you have your antenna down in the basement, it probably lowers that noise floor, so you're probably only hearing like one blade of the Mini-Grass. But there are quite a few out there. 785 Hello Radio, and we've got you checked in. And Randy, N7US, introduced me to his Robin. All right, well, that's good. That's how it should be. A match made in radio heaven, as they say. Minus 100 dB, okay, on the subterranean antenna. I wish. I can only wish for a minus 100 dB on the skip. Let's go to SWL61. Dino checked in earlier. I heard him, but he couldn't hear me. SWL62, Mr. KD out of North Dakota.
Aloha.
SWL63, I will get a check-in for the North Georgia station, Mr. Butterbean. And 64, right there. Must not have much of a delay on your Universal Media NetWeb audio stream, Craig. Boy, Wisconsin was just flying in here probably about 6 o'clock. In fact, we were on the test channel, and some guys from Illinois and Wisconsin came in, and we had a nice little chat here on 11 meters. You know, it's okay to do that now. The FCC said it is okay, as long as you're following all the other rules and regulations, to do a little bit of contacts that are 150 miles or more away. So it can happen. Thanks, 64. Let's go to SWL 65.
I'm checking in.
Hey, live and direct. We got you proxy check-in, but I just had to call you. And there you are. 65, you are checked in. Over.
I got it down there. Thank you, Denver. You shot up around the
Boy, just when you think you might have a clear shot. Anyway, sounding good out there. SWL 66. Shortwave listener 67. And Big Rich 6520 saying good evening to OTR, although he does it a different way. I can't kind of. He goes, da-da-da-da-da-da. Hello, OTR. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I can hear you practicing the scale. And it sounds good, way better than what I just did. Let's go to. Did I get Bill? Yeah, Canby, Oregon's in there. SWL 68 checked in early. Michael from New York. SWL 69 also checked in. Kenny was in at the top of the net saying hello, radio from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Zero, Molokai Cowboy cruising on this double Shaka Mobile.
The Shaka Mobile still mobiling. They're always got one tire in the water, 1 foot in the water in that Mobile radio. Although you heard 49, you heard Smitty in the Mobile. He was smoking here. SWL 70.
That about it. You enjoy it, man. Have a few for me. The few for you tonight, 429. They call me the hippopotamus. I'm moving.
Let's head up to over to Dallas, Georgia. SWL 71. Stan, and I heard somebody contesting today, but it wasn't anything like last week with the CQ Worldwide. Checking in FY next weekend. Stan says next weekend is the Georgia QSL party. He will be working it, so listen for me. I can hear you. I know I can hear you. I've talked to, and I don't have the station's call. It's in my call book. But he was down your way and mentioned you are a busy guy with the club, keeping people in their license classes and beyond. So, all right, next week, Make sure I got that right. Next weekend, Georgia QSO party. Should have some really good conditions. So maybe hear you on 10, 15, and or 20. Thank you, Stan. Let's go to SWL 72.
Aloha.
SWL 73. Yeah, cornbread, F-R-E-S, capital N, capital O. Did somebody say it? Probably. But maybe they whispered it, just in case. We've got a proxy check-in for SWL 74, SWL 75. SWL 77. Got a proxy check-in for 1017. SWL 78, Wild Wildemar. I've been trying to catch Richard on the 40-meter band, which I should be able to do if I was in the right spot at the right time, but I never am. So we'll see if Wild Wildemar comes in there tonight. 371, Howlin' Wolf. You know, I was listening. We have a jazz show. We have a blues and a jazz show on the FM station. And they were playing some Howlin' Wolf this morning. So you were out there for sure. No, you can call in any time. You can try it over the air. You can try it right there like you're doing. Playing the blues. Give us a riff. And we will say hello radio. Get you checked in. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's go to SWL 79. SWL 80. And I guess I can try it. Maybe we'll see what's going on with the Bob and Steve. Are they ready? Are they out? Is the limousine? The limousine was not here. The red limo, the big red limo. The blue one was there, but the red limo wasn't in. So I figured they might have been out. But you're saying that they are back. All right. We'll check in with Bob and Steve in just a moment. Ricardo saying hello from Dayton, Ohio, the home of the Hamvention. Hey, it's happening this year. That's good. May 19th, 2021. It's a good thing if you're there. We have a lot of, actually we have stations from Fresno that used to jump on their plane and fly over to the Dayton Hamvention. I don't think they're doing that anymore. We do have stations here from the Central Valley that go in and check things out. Probably Mike Stahl, M Squared, K6MYC, probably heads out there. If he does, he's getting up in years, so he may not be going out there as much, but I bet he goes out there. So that's good. All right, let me find out where Bob and Steve are, and we'll be right back. And I'm starting to hear my static. So you know that means the noise floor is going down, and we might actually be able to hear a few things.
27.0850 TR Channel 11.
All right. Here we are again, episode 161 on an April 1st. So I'm going to be a little suspicious of this one. Bob and Steve, April's Fool's Day, a lot going on this week. There was a lot going on this week. As usual, I get to Saturday and I'm out of breath and I'm thinking, what happened? What was going on? Well, they're going down to Houston for the NCAA final playoff Monday night. Jingle Singers just had to go. A little bit of that March Madness in April. Jingle Singers want to go to the Masters on Thursday and Friday. If we go, they'll be back for OTR. Thanks for that, because we do need the Jingle Singers. The jet is fueled. I saw that. I saw the bill. That stuff, that high-octane stuff is not cheap. We had the maintenance team come in to check on the zip line for the pool. They said it's in perfect shape. It won't be long. The pool looks great. Water was sparkling. I was tempted today. The sun was out, but the air was cold. It was still 59 degrees. So glad it's all ready when we can do it. The Jingle Singers found a Sonar Model E. Will we have one of those check-in tonight? I don't know. It was in Grandpa's garage with the hand mic direct wired. Is it working? needs some knobs, I think they have it over on the table in its maiden form without the knobs, but that's okay. Go check it out. At the bar tonight from Gulf Shores, Alabama, Tracy is there too, but the Tacky Jacks at 240 East 24th Avenue, the most popular fish of the locals out there in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Anybody from Alabama out there tonight? The Gulf Grouper platter is ready to go, fried, grilled, or blackened, and served with rice and steamed veggie, if you like those Gulf Gropers. Drinks are on Bob and Steve, and don't forget to feed the fish. But if you do, we'll remind you. Thanks, guys.
27.085 OTR Channel 11.
And roll call continues in a moment.
That Grand Prix slugging.
And it looks like the skip continues regardless of what we do around the old Tube Radio Network. I've got a check-in for SWL 81. How about SWL 82?
82, checking in from the ditch banks of Biola.
All right, sneaking in between the mini grass and down under and all that. Sounding good, sir, and thanks for the relay earlier. Over to SWL 83. We've got a check-in for 84, 86, 87, and 88, the team of radio operators, tube radio operators and owners, Cheerios Kid, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl. Thanks. SWL, who's next? 89.
Hello, 239.
Charlie is saying it's easy. The numbers are in order. It couldn't be any easier, right? If it's 88, what's the next one? 89. SWL 90. I'm glad, because it needs to be easy. When I'm doing net control, after I figure out how to get this tie on, that's maybe the hard part of the evening. SWL 91 checking in, saying hello to all the shortwave listeners and old tube radio operators who, like me, are awaiting the first radio checking in tonight. Thank you, Felix, as always. SWL 92. SWL 93.
Delta 19, Hawaiian Islands gone.
Looking for Mr. Warthog 95. Checking in, of course, from beautiful Orlando, Florida. Haven't heard Florida. They were coming in on 40 meters a while back, but been kind of quiet. Probably I'm not listening in the right place. And SWL 96, Dennis checked in via the Universal Media Netweb moments ago. SWL 98, Tracy, are you there? I'm going to get you checked in. I believe I heard you, was it Wednesday night? Friday night? Maybe both nights. Anyway, 98. Got you checked in. Radio Randy, in moments ago from his appearance as the big audio guy on 7199. He puts the herd on 7200 when they're in there doing their thing. It's hard to get around that big stack antennas. You know what? I think we have, and we'll check it out tonight, an Echo Link. And as per normal, we'll check out the Echo Link and see if Tony is listening in tonight. KD4BAO, KB6GFD, over.
I'm gone.
Good evening, Dennis. Please check in SWL 100, KD4BAO, back to net control.
All right. Thanks, Tony. As you can hear, things are still hot and heavy on the West Coast, but that will not keep us from our mission of checking in radios. And I know you are sitting by patiently, or maybe not so patiently, awaiting the glow-in-the-dark items of interest. Thanks for joining us and checking in. KB6GFD. All right, Tony, out of McClellanville, South Carolina, sounding good on the Echo Link. I know it's working tonight.
Oh boy, man, I do not want to find it.
I'll find the right control. We will continue on SWL 102.
Lord, can't make a notice on that ground plane.
Arkansas checking in, looking good. Thanks for the hand there. And John, I can certainly use it. Let's go to SWL 103. If the band permits, we can take a local check in, SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Toronto 109 checking in.
All right, I tried to sneak in between the noise, and I did. You are sounding great as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dennis. You're sounding great as well tonight.
All right, it's good. It's good to be able to make it a couple of miles up the road. Actually, Crawdad is up in the foothills northeast of me, with a great location and a great radio voice, by the way. Always sounding good. Let's go to SWL 110.
Oh, sorry, big guy. I was real busy pulling the floor.
I never quite get that accent. Cotton picker. Let's go to SWL 111. He is not a cotton picker, but he did check in via the Universal Media Network, saying that when he turned his radio on at the beginning of the net, it was a cacophony of sounds, and many of them were not the ones that he wanted to hear. We've got you checked in, Robert. Thanks. Let's go to SWL 113. Was there a break for OTR? Over. All right, I'm hearing things. I don't think that was Tom, but I'm going to get him checked in. He was on one of the sideband nets. He often checks into the early risers net on Friday mornings, and probably at other times, if I was to hear him. A station that can make it through any condition, because he is the station. SWL 114. Hello, Wayne.
114, checking in.
Sounding good. The X is in your square tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the check-in. I was lucky to hear you.
Yeah, just kind of trying to sneak in. Sometimes I don't do a good job. You're sounding good. Thanks. I'm checking my notes. We're going to SWL 128, Fairfax, Virginia, where I wasn't sure if John had the receiver over here on 11 meters for a little bit to SWL, or if he had the SX99 listening to W1AW, or maybe the Voice of America, or maybe some sideband down up on 75 meters, running the long wire. Anyway, thanks, John, for joining us. I see you on my list. Let's go to shortwave listener 131. SWL 133. Shortwave listener 135.
If this thing is working, SWL 135 checking in.
135. You are checking in and doing a great job. I hear you. SWL 137. And Tony's probably going to have a tough time with me up there on the hill, hearing everybody. SWL 145.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis. I think I heard you say 145. Tony checking in.
Yeah, 145, I hear you, and I've got you checked, and you are making it no problem over the skip tonight. Probably having trouble with me, though. Anyway, Tony, I hear you, and you're sounding good. Over.
All right, Dennis, really rough and tough up here tonight.
All right, no problem. I hear you, and you are checked in. Over. And Tony, send in the question and answers from Friday. Let me put them out here since we have a little time. Who founded the Salvation Army Saturn, SATERN program? That's for amateur radio. And I would have never got that one. And in the old days, hams would connect 2 flashlight bulbs to their open wire feeders. Why? I bet I know. It has something to do with seeing that RF going forward and back. Balanced feeders, the 2 lines coming out with the spacers to make it, I don't know, 300 ohm, 600 ohm, 450 ohm. But you needed those bulbs to check the forward and reflected power indicator, get an idea of the RF balance in the line. You'd be able to peek out the window and see what was going on. I don't know, people might still do something like that. Let's head over to SWL 145. Neil was in earlier, and as a former presidential candidate said, he had this to say about that. He's in Illinois this evening. He's going to be back in Kakalaki tomorrow, so checking in. Dr. Jazz from the Carolinas most times. Let's go to SWL 188.
Good evening time, Dennis. Good evening time to all SWLs. 188 checking in off the Great Big Gizmochi.
The Gizmochi tickling the ionosphere wherever it goes. Front to back ratio is big, but if it's focused your way, stand by. Sounding good, Bobby. We got you checked in.
294, thank you, sir.
I'm going to try 195. Jim, if you're listening, I know it's noisy. Say something.
195 checking in. I got a cab here called Skippy Gone.
You know, where's my? I had some spray, and you know, you shake it, and there was nothing in it. My Skip Be Gone was all gone. So yeah, spray your area. If there's anything left over, send it on down. Thanks.
Okay, Dennis. Thank you for checking in.
And as they used to say, back in the day when you could get a Johnson Viking or a Town and Country MC-27 back in 1959 on Skip Be Gone, a little dab will do you. All right, where are we going? SWL 226. Anybody else that needs to get checked in that we missed, or I missed, or I couldn't hear you? Go ahead. All right, sounding good. I will be back in a moment. We're going to set up for the tube radios. And let me do this now. Thank you. Well, you know what? Foxman 362. We're gonna have to get you in the studio. Always remind me of stuff here. So turn on the radio. We'll get that warming up. And I will be back on a old tube radio network for April 1st. We'll be listening for your radios. Back in a bit. No name. There we go. Trying to get the light to beacon up. I think we're back. AllTubeRadio.net. Yeah, all right, there we go. Trying to get the light to beacon up. I think we're back. AllTubeRadio.net. Yeah, all right, there we go. Trying to get all right. We have circumvented the audio feedback loop, and we are back. And I kind of think I'm ready. If somebody told you they were correct, you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
Find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Your old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's going in the dark since, I don't know. I can't believe we've been doing this for, maybe I can, 37, 38 years. It's been a long time. April 1st, my name is Dennis, Net Controller for this episode of the Old Tube Radio Network, and Charlie is saying it's April 1st. Should we do something wacky? All right, you know what? I've got an idea. Let me do something here. We can go to the way it looked. Were we to have probably done a net back in 1958, and with the technology that was around then, where is it? Is it this one? Yeah, this is what would have happened. This is what would have happened on the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, that's our addition to the April 1st edition. Although I bet the radios will be in color. See, we don't have the lighting set for monochrome. There's actually a different lighting on it, but you can still see the blinking lights. All right, enough of me bantering. I am signing into the Tube Radio list for April, APRIL 12023, the Old Tube Radio Network, where we are listening for your glow-in-the-dark radios, starting now.
135, 135.
Ooh, 20.
All right, 135 and 20. Now we're gonna have to try and keep 20 from keying up while you're on there, because he liked that ping. Put on the dummy load. You know, if you put on the dummy load, it's not gonna sound like that. And Hans is saying Hans is not fooling around. It's April 2nd where he's at. He's already gone through this nonsense. Well, sorry, you're gonna have to put up with it for a couple more hours. But hopefully we will have some radios to make it work. All right, stepping up into the air chair, Mr. Green Arrow, joining us here at the first time of April, and I will stop talking, and you will tell us the radio, and I will try to find it. Over.
Okay. Hello. I'm a little bit low in frequency. I got 0845, so yeah, hopefully I'm still well within your bandwidth. Okay, so this is SWL 135 on a radio from Parts Unknown. This is the Air Castle JE321, Juliet Echo 321. Let's see, 10 tubes, but all 23 crystal-controlled transmit and receive channels, because that's all there are. There's just 23. At least there were when this thing was made. Let's see, I am on a D104 amplified gray bass microphone to try to help get me through the skip. I hope it is working. Back to you.
It's working great. As the skip dies down, the D104 amplified sound again. You know, I think I had featured this radio on the weekday OTR list. It looks familiar. That's got the little flying castle, Air Castle JE321. We'll talk about who did the Air Castle. I think we might know who did the radio, perhaps. But it is something in something's clothing, but these were distributed by somebody. Anyway, let me get a better full-screen picture, because your pictures are always so greatly done. Calendar quality, for sure. It even looks like the mod light is going. Now, that I don't know how you do. I don't know how you do that, but maybe it's just my imagination. There it is, the radio on which Cliff is talking. In fact, I believe this is the radio on which he is talking. Interesting color. The audio is good. You're already getting some thumbs up from the listeners. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you got the right one there, it should be a two-tone chocolate brown kind of thing, and green, channel 11. It has several channels in white on black, and then several channels green on black. Incidentally, the trick with some of those that I have that I don't have keyed up in the picture, one of the tricks you can use on several of these to get the mod light to go is you just crank the volume, and that will actually make the mod light go. So that's just a little trick. Many people out there with mod light radios know this trick. If your receive is really cranking in there, it'll light up that light.
You know, some people have mentioned that before. Sometimes they say, you know, when you talk, occasionally the mod light blinks. I don't know what would be in the circuitry that would cause that, for some leak through a voltage, or if that's actually, as they say, it's not a failure. It's a feature. So I just, for the listeners, I turned the receive volume up a little bit. So if you heard Cliff's volume come up, that was me changing some things, and I want to equal it out to what I'm doing, where it should be, using the Orban meter. The two-tone, let me see if I've got the Rolodex. I like the A radios because I just have to flip one little card in the Rolodex, and then the radio shows up. What does it say? Notes. Label on rear. Code CBECI67. Aha, okay. That answers my question. Code ECI67. Now, some of our astute listeners know that the ECI, Courier, possibly one and the same. And I was about to say, this has the telltale sound and perhaps a little bit of look of like a Courier 23. Over.
Oh yeah, the Courier 23 or the 23 Plus. If you find a picture of that, you'll find it's pretty much the same radio with a different paint job. I think it is the same radio with a different paint job. I also have the Courier 23. I didn't drag it out here tonight, but boy, I got to tell you, those radios, they look for all the world very identical. And incidentally, getting a huge signal on the meter here from you tonight. The meter only goes up to 30 into the green. For some reason, the dB numbers are in green on the meter, and it only goes up to 30, and you are hitting me at 25. So I just don't see how you could really do much better unless you were actually nearby in the backyard. Over to you.
All right, maybe I am. I will have to see where my coax is on the end of the antenna. All right, I'm going to, there are people talking about the Castle logo. Let me see if I can get the extreme close-up. There it is, Air Castle. And there's the Castle. Now, did we determine that we know that Sears sold radios and J.C. Penney sold radios and Burstein Appleby and Olson Electronics, but not to be outdone, and Sears, did I mention that? Sears took E.F. Johnson, put their logo on it. I believe Air Castle is it Spiegel? Is it Montgomery Ward's? I don't remember, and I thought my Rolodex would tell me, and it is not, so you might know something like that. I noticed there's a mic wiring diagram, 1, 2, 3, 4. RX1, TX2, audio 3, and ground number 4, so it takes everything. Sam's PhotoFax 15. So were we to have our old catalogs from Sears, Penney's, Montgomery Ward's, Spiegel, where might we find the Air Castle? Over.
I think it was probably Monkey Ward's. I don't know if Spiegel ever carried CBs, did they? That'd be a new one on me. I don't know, but I think it was probably Monkey Ward's carried this, but there's nothing on the radio that really indicates that. Let's see, I have a couple of other Montgomery Ward's radios that, are they Air Castle, or is it, I can't remember now.
Comment.
Yeah, there's a comment. I have a Montgomery Ward's. It's an AM/FM, 3378 console, and I think it's air something like an airliner. So, could be a Montgomery Ward's. The comment. Go ahead. Over.
Okay. In the if I can find it, 83 PhotoFact annual index, because of course we who work on radios have to have all the indexes. No, I just have two. The 1983 index says that Aircastle is Spiegel.
You mean Chicago, Illinois, 60609?
There you got it.
Wow, all right. I guess they were still around then. All right. Well, maybe they were associated with the East Coast Montgomery Wards. I don't know. But there it is. But this is the Courier clone, ECI clone, produced for your CB radio pleasure. Back, two-way communications. I bet they probably had antennas and walkie-talkies to go with it. Well, I don't know if you did your shopping or who did the shopping for this originally, but we're glad they did. Glad that you have it. Sounds good. A lot of thumbs up on the audio, and I agree. That's that nice Courier audio. Oh, back to you, and I will also confirm your possible not on frequency nest, but it sounds good.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So it was Spiegel.
Seem to be at 945. So, or 46, somewhere right around there. That's not too bad.
But yeah, it was Airline. Yeah, that was the Montgomery Wards. Let's say I've got a couple of those receivers, old tube Airline receivers. I couldn't remember if it was Aircastle or Airline. So how is my frequency, Kenneth? Back to you.
All right, and Mr. 23 Skidoo checking his notes and also confirming the Airline from Montgomery Wards, and that's what my console is. I'm sure it's an air something, it's Airline, and the Aircastle is indeed from Der Spiegel. 27084 something or other. So yeah, you're right on with the 500 cycles low, but there's 700 cycles allowed, I think plus or minus from your center crystal frequency. So you're still in the business. And it sounds good. I'm running wide receive, so not a problem. Audio is good. Oh, and okay, I will do that. After you sign off, and we'll take Harvey. I got to get the pocket protector, the pen in the pocket protector. Good deal. Let me go back to the full screen picture of the radio, your radio. The microphone in the radio is not, well, if it's a D104, it's like the hand style of it. But you said you're on an amplified D104, so good choice. There's a switch. The close-up of the switch, is it for the meter? You probably told me. It is off. I can't read the switch under the meter. I can see the PACB, but the switch under the meter I can't really read.
Oh, sorry about that. I should have mentioned it. Yeah, that is range expand, and it is on. And yeah, in the picture, I have the original ECI hand mic, which also sounds pretty good with this radio. But I also have a D104. Like I said, I thought I'd bring that out because the skip was pretty mad just minutes ago. So I thought I might try something a little stronger.
All right, and it's down where I can actually hear my noise level. So just a note to our stations that if you're still listening and couldn't get checked in, jump in between the radios, give us a call, and we will get you checked in because it's quieting down. Not to say that something won't come back. Not to say that Dwayne will just pop in at 20 over to say hello, radio. Radio number one, thanks to Cliff and the radios over at that location. Green Arrow on the ECI, but Aircastle branded JE321. The microphone sounding good, the radio sounding good. Thanks for bringing it by.
And thanks for letting me check it in. We'll catch you next week.
All right, an April 1st episode of the Old Tube Radio Network. Who is that? Somebody's knocking at it. Larry. Out there, the mighty Oz, who has who is so impressed with the radios, he took the thumb and the finger off of it. Is it straight key night? Or is it paddle? Is it bug night? Anyway, he's put down the key just a moment so he can adjust his glasses like I'm doing and say, wow, that's a cool radio. All right. Thanks for that. Standing by. Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to, sorry. Hang on. Come on up to the air chair, Harvey, while I do, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do the pen, the pocket protector pen. Oh, man, I can't even see this. This is a weird, is it a pen or a pencil? I can't tell. It is from, it's worn off. Magnavox. That's all it says. And wait a minute, I'm going to have a fire here. My microphone just fell into the keying circuit. All right, let's get rid of that. Not ergonomically correct. All right, here's the pocket protector pen. Nice red color. You can't tell, but it's red. From Magnavox. And it'll look good next to the 2 gigahertz pen going on. All right, so we've got that done. Jingle singers. All right, we get the jingle singers going on, and then we will get to radio number 2. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
And Cornbread just jumped out of his chair and said, did somebody just say Fresno? And the answer to that query is yes. All right. Hello, Harvey. OTR listening.
Roger. Or Dennis, actually. This is number 20, and I'm on a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB combination, 11-tube receiver, 9-tube transmitter, and it's not mine. This belongs to JT in South Carolina. Anyway, and I hope he's listening. I also sent him a picture, and I call these the Twin Towers. And the reason is, and Cliff knows this, he's got the same picture. The only way after working on these that I could watch them both at the same time, the bottoms of each unit and the tops, was to put them on their ends and with a little area in between so I could see what was going on, get the light to shine in, and make sure everything was okay. And so far it's been okay. So there you go. Unamplified D104 being used. The audio gain in the transmitters turned up 1/2, and I think it's on frequency, pretty much. And I believe after tonight, I'm going to box it up, send it home.
What's the guy you say? Elizabeth, I'm coming home. Sure. Sounds good. Confirming the frequency at 100 cycles or closer. Audio is very excellent. Audio is super loud, but not harsh, but loud the way it should be. With unamplification on the D104ium. We will call this, I wrote it down, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSBJT. And so it's very possible that that will be making an appearance on the infamous Old Radio Night in the weeks to come, in the months of April and beyond. So so good job. So hopefully we didn't have any seismic activity on the Richter scale, although I know parts of California have been having a little shaking going on. But here in the Central Valley, we are close, but not too close to the San Andreas Fault. So I believe stacking the radios on end was a safe thing to do. Over.
Roger. That's the short ping. I'll demonstrate the long ping in a sec. The D104 is a new arrival that I just picked up. I got very lucky with this one. I happened to find it on eBay, and I go, okay, but it's like 3 in the morning. I can't quite take care of the payment right now, so I won't buy it. I'll just wait and see if it's available later in the morning. And turned out it was. Unamplified, came with the 2-pin plug, came with the straight stock cord on a G-stand, and believe it or not, came with the Browning medallion on the back of the head of the D104. So I have another one of these. And, you know, it didn't have to be. Somebody else could have swiped it there. But, and the cartridge is original. 1964, I think. I think it's a 64 cartridge. I did kind of take a peek. Anyway, oh, you already did the frequency thing. I'll unkey, you'll say a few words, and then I'll demonstrate the long ping, because I know JT's waiting for that.
Okay, and we are 125, about 125 in the video, so if anybody needs to replay their video to hear this, it's about an hour and 25. All right, what do I need to put up? I'll put up the Orban meter for the long and short of it. Back to you.
That's the long ping, and I can do another thing with it. Hang on here. I'm going to unkey and then key back up. I can get the sweet ping out of it. You move the mic not close to the speaker as I have to with the Golden Beagle, but here you hold it farther away, aim it just right, and you can get a sweet ping.
Oh, yes, a true Browning radio operator knows how to orchestrate the ping. And that was definitely back in the day. That was an art, and it still is. Radio number 2, Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, back amongst the living, SSB JT. So thanks, Harvey, for that. Our friends at ORN will be anxious to hear that live and direct. The conditions are changing. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to Mr. JT live in the pre-show era. And if I get a chance to do that, especially with that radio or anything that he's got, I will try and record it so we can have a nice replay. So back to you, and thanks for bringing it by. It's a keeper.
Oh, Roger. I love the way this mic works. It works a little differently than my Golden Beagle mic, the one I have up on there. But I like it. It's definitely going to be a keeper. It doesn't go anywhere. And I got a text from John, JT, and he's listening. That's great. Okay. Well, what I'll do is just keep this fired up, but I do have to leave the radio room for a few minutes, and I'll be listening on the stream. Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, the stream is up, oldtuberadio.net. I guess dialable on your universal media device, your walkie-talkie, your cell phone, oldtuberadio.net, also on your computer. Oh, I want to say thank you, Harvey, of Radio 2. Wild, what did he call it? Wild, warm, and windy, or windy and warm, Will DeMar. It was warm here today. We are cooling down here in the Central Valley, but I know where you're at, it could be close to 80. So, Richard, out there, and let me get the SWL official check-in. And I wasn't on it. I was, as usual, not at the right place at the right time. I was down on the morning frequency with Brian and the crew listening in. I did not take a transmission, but I did not hear you. That not to say that you weren't there. It just means I'm not listening at the right time. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark. Low to popcorn. And let me check one more thing. I don't know if Albert and the gang, if they're still tuned in. It looks like they are out in Squamish. I'm going to bring up the, and let me see if I can bring it up. I'm going to bring up the Squamish Relay Center on 27085. And I'll have that in the background here in a little bit. I know there's a bit of delay. See if we can get the right frequency on there. And then we'll see if we can't hear our AM stations out there in Squamish. All right, that looks good. But before we do that, let me go to the Jingle Singers, and we'll be back. We are also listening for radio number 3 as well. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Radio Magic for you, listening for radio number 3. And OTR is back. I think we may have a sighting up on 20. It actually wasn't 27085. It looked like 27088. So if you're out there, take another transmission out there in Squamish. I'll move the frequency to the correct item, and maybe you guys can check in direct.
OTR 256, Squamish boy, Albert calling.
And there it is, Albert 256. We are listening to the Beacon Relay up there in Squamish, and Albert taking a transmission on his AM radio at 27085, plus or minus. It's actually at about 27088. Take another transmission, and we'll be listening for you live and direct. We'll put up the meter here so you can give yourself a check-in. Go ahead. And there's a big delay between the Universal Media NetWeb and the relay station, I do believe. But he is out there in antenna. Here we go.
I'm calling you on my Craig 4201. It's an old 23 channel that I have.
Okay, he's out in the Craig 4201 23 channel. 23 channels is good. That's a vintage radio, and it fits in well for what we are doing tonight. You're sounding good. Nice audio. And glad to have you aboard the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. So I wanted to bring up the relay station and say hello to one of our faithful listeners who we've heard over the air through the generic receiver, and then tonight on the relay station. Thank you, Albert. Thank you for jumping in and saying hello to us down here in Central California, 73. And 60. Hi, Joe. I hear you. Let me go back to the control room here. I'm making sure that...
Thank you, Dennis. It's 73 to all the listeners.
I get our stations from Squamish checking in. You're doing pretty good tonight. So we just get some good conditions. All right, Joe, it's your turn. Take a transmission.
Okay. I hope I got these things, I hope I got these coaxes hooked up right. I think the unit is warm. You heard me, and we're looks like the scale is working. The meter is working. Okay, Dennis, I'd like to check in my Johnson, the blackface, TOO.
Oh, we can do that. TWO, big signal on the meter. Audio is good. So I don't think you have like they say, you haven't wrecked it. Everybody is still good. Take a transmission. I will find a picture. I think I have a new entry into the picture form. I will see if I can indeed find that. But over to you.
Yeah, this Johnson Dennis has 10 tubes. It's a good-looking radio. It has that little indicator light, tells me that I'm on the air. It has its little channel selector, and also little bitty lights for the channel selector and the other lettered selector. You got to really focus to read the numbers on the selector. It's doing about I guess it's doing anywhere between 35 and 40 watts. I'm looking over at the meter and everything seems to be working okay. 10 tubes, 10 channels, Dennis.
As we say on the Old Tube Radio Network, 10 tubes and 10 channels. No waiting. And I had a great shot. Here we go. Got to be careful where I click the button. Seeing a photo from the collection of John Richardson. Looking pretty good. And he has a stack here. He's got a full table. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Messenger 2s. 5, 6, 7, looks like. Stacked in with the Messenger Whiteface. And his comment is, love the old Johnson radios, need to start working on these. Yeah, I agree, John. Work on them and put them on the air. Maybe we'll hear them here in Central California. Right now, we're listening to the Messenger TWO from Joe. Now I'm looking at one. A couple of those of the twos have a red modulation light. So this is interesting. So I don't think you haven't said before that has a light on the front panel, right?
No, Dennis, no light on the front panel. It is behind the screen, between the two indicators. It's on right now, an amber light. Yeah, it is behind the screen.
Neon bulb.
Neon bulb. All right, it looks like somebody probably brought it forward. It might be a mod. Don't know if it's a Johnson, E.F. Johnson thing or what, but somebody might have modded it and brought it out to the front, at least on the picture we're seeing from John's radio here. So very interesting. Let me go back over to our other item of interest. And that is not exactly what I want there. So, did I mark you down? You are Radio 3, and what is the microphone you're using again? Over.
Dennis, this is a gray bass D104 amplified.
All right, you haven't overdone it. That radio is definitely set up to do amplification. There we go. I've got to get in the right picture. I lost my radios there. Not overdone at all. Doesn't sound harsh. Doesn't sound like it's flat topping. So you've got it in the place it needs to be. Over.
Well, I'm hoping so. I like the case on this. It's a great case. Goes along with that black face, but very transparent. You can see the inside pretty good. The tube's lit up. This is a bass radio, not mobile. Strictly a bass, I imagine. I may be wrong. But yeah, I like the gray bass on I like the color of it, and it goes together with that black face. But I like that you can see the inside and see all the tubes glowing.
Yeah, they're always good. You look down on the top. And no-nonsense radio, for sure. Good audio. In fact, there's a couple of commented on how the audio is clean. And part of it is a lot of the radios are clean. They just get overdriven in the audio. That's why I commented and gave you some good comments that you are running an amplified microphone, but you have adjusted it properly with matching with however the internal audio is set up on the radio. And to your prior question, yes and yes. You are right that it's a mobile radio. You are right that it's a base radio, depending on the number on the back, the 24-162 and the 24-163. One is going to be a 12-volt, and one's going to be the 116 or 115-volt radio. 10 tubes, 10 channels, as you said, with the possibility of 23 channels being able to be tuned on the tunable receiver. Price out the door most times at most radio shops, electronic stores, was about $170. I don't know what that translates to 2023, but it still was a fairly hefty price. Sam's photo fax number 5, page 48, tells you more about it, and oldtuberadio.com has a schematic. Back to you for transmission. And as always, sounding good. And the years these were made, I don't have a to and from, and when they stopped making them. I wonder if they went all the way through 1972. That would be the end run of the Messenger 223. And this didn't come out in 59 or 60, I don't think, because they were still doing the Viking Messenger. So this is definitely a mid-1960s, early to mid-60s radio for sure. Take a transmission, sir. Sounding good.
Well, thank you on that info there, Dennis. And you did say this is a base radio only, right? 70.
It depends on your number on the back, 242162 or 242163. So, and I don't have a designator, but you will find it. So if it's a 162, then that's the 115 version. If it's the 163 and it's not, then you have to be running it off a power supply. But it's either they made both. It's just I think you have to buy the radio model number to make it work.
Oh, that's great. I'll check that out, and then I'll tag it
AB6G
here in the front there to for my information on the radio. Okay, Dennis, I appreciate you letting me check this one in. This will do it for the Johnson Blackface T00.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. Radio number 3 tonight from E.F. Johnson. We might have a crossband check-in. Let me see here. AB6GFD, do we have a check-in? Over.
No, we just had a crossband question. What year was that radio? $170.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I had trouble hearing the audio, so my fault there. Let me get back to the controller. The original, they say the original price. So if the radio came out in 1963 and original price was $169.95, by the end of 1968 or 69 when they stopped making those, because E.F. Johnson was they weren't super quick, but they were quick to get into the mobile radios, the Johnson 123 and things like that. So they probably stopped these in the late 60s. So yeah, under $200, $170, $180 back in those days. Over.
Okay, so for the record, in 1963, I'm going to take the first year that you brought up there. $170 in 1963 would equal in 2023 $1,682.33 for that tube radio. Again, $1,682 and 33 cents.
Wow, I was thinking it might be like $600 or $700, but in '63. Kind of before all the inflation, and I know that was a pretty decent price. That would be the price of a nice console color television. I have no idea what the washing machines were, and you could probably pick up a used car for close to that. So yeah, that's it was an investment for sure. Over.
Yeah, and then some.
All right, sounds like the band is opening up just a bit. Hearing some voices coming through. This is the Old Tube Radio Network here in Central California, and we are listening for your Tube Radio check-ins.
All right, well, maybe we'll take one from the Radio Lounge that didn't cost just short of $2,000.
Well, you know, with crazy eBay prices, you got to be careful. But I'm glad it was as affordable, because that means we will get to hear it. Go ahead, over.
Okay, well, for your listening pleasure, from the Radio Lounge, this is SWL 47 with my Robin T123, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember how much this cost me. Man, I really don't. I would say, oh goodness sakes, I'm not even going to make a guess. It's worth a lot to me sentimentally. It's the first tube radio I ever purchased, and it's got the just a delightful Magic Eye. I think it's a 6RE13 Magic Eye tube in it, which of course is winking and blinking at me, especially since I do have a amplified D104, which one of the previous listeners was mentioning his gray bass microphone. I think this thing is a gray bass. There's a comment I've never made before about this particular radio.
Well, it does have, and I was looking at some devices that were using the Magic Eye tubes to do frequency, like spectrum analyzers and audio equalizers for different frequencies. Very, very interesting things. Classic, kind of novelty stuff. This was not novelty. This was actually the real deal. Robin, always a smooth sounding radio. This is, I don't know what your fave out of all the radios on the desk are, but this one always has the nice smooth audio for you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is getting late, and I don't like using radios that don't have amplified mics on them at this late hour, because I just don't like screaming into them and waking other folks up. But it feels like I'm not really putting much audio into it, but the Magic Eye tube is definitely winking and blinking at me. I don't think this radio has ever been tuned to this particular microphone. I know my other Robin, I think it was tuned, apparently tuned for an amplified mic, which of course I'm not using on it. I like using that stock unamplified mic. But anyways, hopefully this is tuned as well as it can be for a radio that is well past half century old.
Okay, well, some of us on this frequency might be well past a half century old. Getting some good comments on your audio. Sounding good. Somebody suggesting that perhaps, you know, if NASA's doing a, what do they call it, time capsule or something, that this radio would be a good one to put in for somebody to open up in the year 2525 to say, yeah, this is how those humanoids communicated back in the day. Richard's saying he talked to what was the call? W6XLR4, which is actually listed in QRZ. Herman Munster. On April 1st, I guess you can do that. We are not talking to Herman Munster right now. We are talking to Mike on the Robin radio. However, if there was a radio to be seen at 1313 Mockingbird Lane, this one would have been a good one. Over.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to tell you, I thought I was going to surprise everyone with a quick radio change, but I can't believe you know that address of that house. You did not just rattle off the address of the Munsters' home?
I do believe it was 1313 for obvious reasons, 1313 Mockingbird Lane, but QRZ actually does show the Whiskey 6 X-ray Radio Lima 4. So I think in the famous YouTube sound clip of, you know, Herman sitting in front of the radio, that's probably the call that he gave. And it says he enjoys using vintage tube gear built by his scientist father-in-law. So there you go. So maybe this was, maybe one of these radios is likewise. I don't know if it was done by Herman Munster, but you're sounding good. Over.
Okay. Well, thank you. Listen, I don't want to take up too much time. I did really quick. I switched over to the second tube radio that I'd like to check in tonight. The Robin T123 Bravo, which is definitely making me look over at the rather, well, I don't want to say pathetic. I'm not doing much as far as that modulation lamp is concerned. There's no match guide tube on this guy. I think we've determined, although it still feels weird to say that a neon light bulb is so small. I always thought neon tubes were, or neon lights were, longer tubes that you'd spell letters out with for signs. But I'm not doing much of anything with the modulation lamp on this 123B as in Bravo with the unamplified yet stock microphone.
Oh, and we're showing the T123B, so that is the microphone that is pretty, it's very small, right? Kind of, if you put it in your hand, it sort of disappears.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And mine is really disappearing because I practically have to swallow this thing to put any sort of a signal out on it.
Well, I hear you. We're looking good. It might not be as many, LKFS dBs on the Orban meter, but it's certainly fine. We have a very low noise level now and not a problem. So we've gone into the green machine, T123B, one of the, as 23s could do, has told us, the Panasonic second generation. Is that what we would call it? Panasonic chassis, 11 tubes with the 12AX7 in your modulation. I think it's a 6BQ5 somewhere else in there. So always a screamer. So you have it mellow for us, but that's okay. You know it can pounce if you want to.
Okay, well there it is. Listen, thanks for letting me check both these radios in. They both have their charm as far as receive. I don't think I really have I heard both of these. I don't know if I've heard recordings of myself on both these radios. Maybe on the Robin, the original one, the 123. Not on this one, but for the record, everyone sounds really, really, really good. And I do want to get out of here because I know other folks want to check in before we call it quits. But I do want to ask a super quick question, and you don't need to elaborate on this too much, but if the antennas, right now I'm on an IMAX 2000 antenna, which is a great little vertical antenna. It's not mounted very high. Do you have any reasonably quick suggestions? If someone was going to make an 11-meter antenna, I'm assuming it would be a Yagi. If you were going to do some sort of a directional antenna for 11 meters that might be, suitable for backpacking or anything like that, that might be a hard question to answer in a small amount of time. But I'd be really curious on hearing anyone's thoughts on that for the matter. 37.
All right, 37. Stand by. We're coming to you. Yeah, if you're backpacking, it depends. If you want to talk locally, then you got to be vertical. You really do. So then you're talking about maybe you'd have to have a loaded whip. I mean, the shorter it is, the more loading it might not be as good. But even a mobile antenna, base-loaded mobile antenna, where you might be able to unscrew the radiating metal whip part that may be 42 or 49 inches, which is still a little bit big for backpacking, but it might be able to be, bent into a horseshoe shape and put in the backpack, or just strapped to the outside so it's sticking up the back of the pack, and you put the coax and the base, the magnetic base, in the pack. Then when you get to where you're going, you really need some type of a ground plane for it. It really needs to be on some type of metal. So, you almost have to find the big dumpster. The bear trap or something. The other way would be to just make a 10-meter wire dipole, which is going to be 18 feet or less, and that just wraps up. And then you can try to mount it diagonally when you throw one end up in the tree. And then you'd get some vertical and horizontal component. You know, the more you could get it up and down, you get more vertical, but you can get some more horizontal. And then you're working on skip as well. So the wired dipole would probably be the best thing. And then you can try and wire it up into the kits. There's the trees. The guys that work the POTA, the Parks on the Air, they're always, you just see their antennas on the ground sometimes. They're just stringing across, having a tree, and then down it goes. But of course, you know, your different frequencies, it's not 11 meters, but 11 meters is open, and they're running horizontal because they're talking distance. So there you go. That or some type of a mobile whip where you'd be able to take it apart and get that vertical element just on the back of the pack so it's not poking you in the face, with the caveat that it really does need some type of a metal counterpoint, and your stainless steel canteen is probably not going to be enough. So back to you for any comments, and then we'll pick up the breaking station.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely a conversation that's going to, I'd be very interested in having at another point in time. But it sounds like 37 is on the, or in the warm-up room, or no, not the that's where I usually hang out, the green room. So I'm going to be quiet, and maybe I'll hang out, if I'm still awake, I'll hang out a little bit after the show. But yeah, I'm very, very, very curious as to backpacking 11-meter antenna options. So, okay, there it is. I'll be quiet for Amp. Thanks for letting me check both these radios in. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, and Chris, step up into the air chair. And thank you, 23 Skidoo. This is another possibility, a Delta Loop. Go ahead and search, Google the Delta Loop, which should be a full-wave antenna. I mean, you're looking at 36 feet of wire, and you might be able to fashion something with some little PVC 90-degree angle pipe fittings where you could run your wire through to keep it where it needs to be for the Delta, for the loop configuration. And that's a wire where you can hang it in the tree, and depending on how you feed it, and they'll show you where you're feeding it from a corner of one of the edges or the center of one of the legs, changes it from vertical to horizontal. So take a look at those pictures. Delta Loop's actually a very great antenna. Low noise, good gain. It might be a little bit harder to put up than the dipole, because you would at least need one mount that's up in the air, and then your corners could come down, and then your feed point comes out. And I think if you have it specific for one frequency only, you can feed it with coax, I think. Or you might need a 4-to-1 balun. You might need some matching thing to go with that. If you feed it with ladder line, you've got some more possibilities. So look up the Delta Loop, work your figures for 27085, and you can see that just feeding it in a different point will change your polarity. And even if you're shooting skip, if you're a DX, a vertical or horizontal is fine. It's the local stuff where you can get messed up if you're cross polarized. All right, I see you, Albert, so stand by. I'll bring up the Squamish relay maybe after this contact, and we'll get 428 checked in. But right now, as Motormouth Mall would say, right here, right now, let's take Radio 6. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Dennis. And yeah, it's working. The tubes are warmed up. Been warming up for about, an hour and a half, 2 hours, so I guess it's warm enough. Let me see. Yeah, it's hot on top. Dennis, I would like to check in my radio.
All right, I've penciled you in as radio number 6, SWL36, and remind everybody that you don't have to have any special number or ever have even come by the net before to stop by and say hello and check in a radio. I mean, that's how we did it when we started. It's like, you have a radio, stop on by, take a transmission, and we'll talk about it, like we're doing with this one. Now, go ahead, sir.
Well, if you penciled me in drawing dice, was it when I'm fat or was I skinny?
I'm using the superfine tip ballpoint pen. I'm not using the one in the pocket protector, so you're looking a little thin. Over.
Okay, Dennis, thank you. Anyway, Dennis, I would like to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A. This is the 24-channel version of all that there. And I think it's got, like 9 tubes, if I'm not mistaken. And we are running this here with the handheld original stock microphone. Over.
Always sounds good. It doesn't miss a beat. Signal is good. Where, as you can hear, the skip is gone away. And so you're looking good at Radio 6. Take another transmission.
Okay. Well, you know, that 777 was covering up you and Harvey and everybody else. He was loud. But anyway, yeah, this was mine, and it's still working. It glows, has the green dial with the black numbers in it, and, you know, the gold stuff on it, and the silver, and the wrinkle paint, and everything else. So it seems to be working good for me today. And I'm right in the middle of watching, the 10 Commandments is what we're watching. So I will get back to that. And Dennis, I want to thank you very much for being there. And I'm out and going that way. Thank you.
All right, we gotta wait for Charlton Heston to part the Red Sea. That is one of those. I think it's owned by CBS. That classic movie, sort of like The Wizard of Oz, that shows up at a particular time, and of course it's apropos for April or March or whatever. So, yeah, pay attention. We won't write any more commandments about checking in on Saturdays, but I think 10 is enough. Anyway, great movie. Have a good time. Thanks for stopping by with Radio 6. It's sounding good.
Thank you. And yes, you know, I just wish they would start it earlier, because I put it on record for later. I'm not staying up until 11:45. It's my bedtime before that. So anyway, Dennis, thank you. And the reason I do it for tonight, and Channel 30 is the only channel that broadcasts that every year. Like you say, they probably own it, like a few other things. So I give them credit for that there. But I was going to say something. And yes, and tomorrow is actually Palm Sunday. So that is one of the reasons they played that tonight. So anyway, Dennis, thank you for being there. I hope you guys understood what I was talking about. Sometimes I wonder myself. So have a great day. God bless everybody.
Well, you've come to the right place, because this is the I wonder what I'm talking about frequency. We're going to the Jingle Singers, 428 up north. Get the radio ready. We've got the relay station up and running, and we'll see if we can't pick you up live and direct from Squamish to Fresno. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Old Tube Radio, the Old Tube Radio Network, doing what we do best, listening for the radios. Got to be on AM, though. All right, I wasn't able to switch my mode enough. Is he able to go to AM? He's over on lower sideband, it looks like. So switch, if you can switch over to AM. Otherwise, I'll see if I can get the relay to go to sideband. Good sideband signal, so I know we're going to hear you on AM. So take another transmission on the radio, but try it on AM. Foxman 362 reporting it's clear in Lockwood, Tennessee, 45 degrees, precipitation 2%. We're not going to have any. Our rain is over for a while, so listening in. Here we go. Listening in for some AM activity into the north.
Check it out.
All right, I wasn't able.
Hey, Dennis, 428 British Columbia. We're trying to check in. Thank you for the contact, 73.
All right, we got you. I had to go to lower sideband. They got you on the lower sideband, and 428 checking in live and direct out of Squamish, British Columbia, right down here in Fresno. Thanks for that. Not quite counting and amounting yet. Let's see if we got any more check-ins before we sign in. Mark saying, where are the yellow machines? There are a few of them out there. Albert saying hello to the Foxman, checking in, where it is Sunday morning. And we're counting and amounting. 23 is going to mention that the bug catcher can also be a good choice for backpacking, but not directional. Yeah, it's something that's tappable, something that you can unscrew, put together, or it's got the sliding segments. Put it together where you can stick it in the backpack. So it could be fun. Do a little as SWO 100 would say, as Tony would say, out of South Carolina, do some TOTA, tubes on the air, OTR listening.
60.
Hey, we've got Radio 7 for you. Go ahead.
Thank you there, Dennis. I'd like to check in my, I guess this is the World Labs radio, the Hustler. Dennis, I'd like to check in my little blue radio.
The blue radio that could. From World Radio Labs. I'll see if I can get a picture up at oldtuberadio.net. Got to click the right buttons and put it in the right place. There it is. Over my shoulder. And then we'll go to the full screen. When I find it here. And when I do that, we'll say back to you. Take a transmission over.
Thank you much, Dennis. This is my little 7-tube, 8-channel CV base. Yeah, that's what it is. I don't think this one is mobile. I hope not. I'm still a little. I'm still looking up the other radio there. I think I was going to ask you a question on that one. We'll get to it. Dennis, this is on a Turner Plus 3 gray bass amplified microphone.
Sounding good. Another, my hat is off to our station tonight. Everybody does a good job of presenting their radios, and they do a very good job of tailoring the audio to make the radio sound the way it should on AM. And that's to say, not flat topping, not over modulating. If you're, 75% and you've got an original microphone, we can deal with that. I mean, it's the look. That's what it does. But the radios always sound good, not overdone. So I, again, am always appreciative of our tube radio operators that do a great job. Because not only do these radios get presented locally, but since we're at Old Tube Radio Network, they go around the universal media netweb. And people are able to dial it up later on. Maybe they're thinking about getting one, or they just got one off of YouTube and they can actually see it working, hear it working, and know that it can sound good. Anyway, take another transmission.
Well, thank you there, Dennis. This little radio here is complete with its hardware. It has its mounting bracket, also has the mic hanger on it, and has the original blue mic, the little blue mic that goes with it, the stock mic. Now, this mic was wired, the blue one was wired underneath the radio through the backside, but Harvey brought the pin up to the front, right underneath the labs. The word labs is my little 4-pin setup, so I can, so I was able to hook up this gray bass microphone.
It's good, and I think you should probably still have the blue microphonium for the photo, right? For the beauty shot, we'll plug the blue microphone. We mentioned last week, World Radio Labs, a great history on the company behind this radio. Very rare radio for 11 meters for Class D from World Radio Labs. Leo Meyerson was the amateur radio operator that started the company, supplying amateur radio equipment from the 1950s to the 1970s. Our station's listening in from Iowa. Council Bluffs know about Leo Meyerson and all that he did. And in 1960, the Globe line, because they made radios by Globe, but this is not a Globe. We have, SWL number 3 had an extensive collection of Globe radios from WRL, but this is the Hustler. This is a one-of-a-kind radio, so we're glad we've got it. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you much. We're about to say the same thing. Very excited about it when it was presented to me, and I had a chance to get it. There's no way I would have passed it up. I would have paid what they would have wanted for this radio. It's been fun, and it's a pleasure to key it up every Saturday. Dennis, that'll do it for this one here, and I'll need a radio check on my Johnson Messenger, just on the microphone there. We're working on it, and I'm gonna just key it up for a little bit there. But I really appreciate you letting me check this one in.
It is my pleasure, and tonight, as always, let me get the studio back up here. We have the Messenger 223 in the background here. That is courtesy of the Mountain Maid, so it always is nice as we're in our, I guess we're in our April 1st mode here. Can we, I'm just checking, is it okay to turn on, Lawrence Welk used to say, turn on the bubble machine, and I'm going to say, is it possible to turn on the color machine? They're saying they don't know. we might have broken everything. All right, they say it's okay to do, so let me get the properties back. We got to configure it. Okay, the magic, what is it? Wave my hand 3 times and say there's no place like home. Or we can get Charlton Heston to come in. All right, that looks good. All right, thanks, Joe, for putting up with the nonsense here.
Okay. Let me turn that radio off, and we'll take just a moment of your time. Let me see here. I think we're on. I hope we're on. Anyway, this is my Johnson 223. I'm working on the microphone, Dennis. I put another element in, and I need to know what, more or less, what it sounds like.
It sounds good. Definitely sounds good with the new element on the 223. I'll bring up the orb band meter. Take a transmission. I like it.
Oh, great. Yeah, we're hoping we got lucky. We happen to have an extra one here, and we found it yesterday and wired it up to the microphone. Dennis, this is my Johnson 223. Once again, 10 tubes, 23 channels. And this is strictly a base radio. And this is the original desk mic that goes with it. It looks similar to the Turner Plus 2, but it's a stock mic and has the little fin on the head, so that's looking at you as you're talking into it.
You know, you did a good job. Good full fidelity. So if you ever got a little bit more internal audio on the radio adjusted, that microphone would still be good, because it's certainly not overdriven at all. And you're getting some thumbs up on the sounds from our listeners.
Oh, great. That makes me happy, boy. I had my doubts about it. I had been saving it for a while, and I really wanted it to work for this radio. Okay, Dennis. Well, doggone it, we're going to get on out of here. I know it's getting late already, and I guess the popcorn probably ran out in the green room, and well, we'll get ready for the batch for next week.
Sounding good. Yeah. If I have one criticism, it's probably a little undermodulated, but I know it's late, and you're not talking like it was a DX Contact, so it's good. But it's doing a good job, and I think it has a better sound than was it last week. There was definitely something wrong with that mic element. Doing good, and it is radio number 8, the Johnson Messenger 223, a Messenger 2. with the addition of 23 channels. So I don't know who decided to name it that, but it tells the story for sure. The Old Tube Radio Network, the jingle singers are coming in. We're going to be listening for any more radios, and then we'll be counting and mounting and let our nice people listening in and checking in go to bed, right? Or do whatever they should be doing. OTR.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
And we are counting and mounting.
Go ahead, check this one in quick.
I can do that. I can't count and write at the same time. And since you were on the SSBJT earlier, I'm going to take a guess that this might be the Beagle. Over.
Yeah. This is the Golden Beagle, R68T68 by Browning Laboratories. Custom D104 with the Browning medallion on it. Oh, yeah, just like the other one. Okay, anyway, go ahead and check it in. It's my old standby radio, and actually it doesn't stand by, it just kind of sits over here on the shelf. But it's working. It actually keys up 1 watt more than the Mark III, but probably sounds about the same.
Sounds good. Mark III might actually be just a tad louder, but the quality, lack of badness is certainly like the other one. They do sound good. Over.
Roger. Appreciate it. Okay, go ahead, count them out, and I'm going to get out of here too, because I'm a tired old man. We'll see you next week.
You're a TOM on OTR?
You got it.
Well, I might join you here. Although I'm doing okay. I always get rejuvenated. I get revived when we get a goodly crop of radios and listeners like we have tonight. Counting and mounting, back in a moment.
Hey, Harvey.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to say hello.
Hello back. How you feeling? How you doing?
Oh, we're good. We're doing good. Watching a little TV and enjoying the radios, and I really did enjoy those Robins a little earlier, especially the Bravo on that little bitty microphone. I've got one, and doggone it, yeah, guys got to use the boost with that one.
Well, all those radios seem to be like that. They're next-door neighbor talkers with the range boost off, with the stock mic, and then you got to turn the range boost on if you want to talk to somebody a mile away. That radio still doing the receive thing?
Well, no, I really haven't been paying attention to it. I've been just talking on it, and I don't know. I changed a couple of tubes. We've been kind of playing around with it. It did kind of skip on me a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think it was as much on the receive, or the transmit rather. On the receive, it looked like it wanted to do it, but on the transmit was okay.
Yeah, transmit seemed fine all the time. It was that receive, you said, after it had been warmed up for quite a while, it seemed to fade, then come back. And never did it. Well, it did it here, I think, a couple of times, and then I worked on that one section I told you about, and then it seemed to stop. Anyway, Dennis is probably ready to go.
Yeah, we could have went on for a little bit there. Okay.
Well, he's not back yet. I think you had another one you wanted to drop off.
Yeah, it's a Robin. Yeah, it's a Robin. Doggone it, the 123 Bravo. Yeah, that's the that one there. I don't use the little bitty mic on it, but I do have it in case I need it. I mostly run a D104 on it. But yeah, I need you to check that one. It's a little low on the receive. It seems to transmit okay, but the tubes need checking.
Okay, you got it. I'm boxing this thing up tomorrow or the next day. Not this thing, but the one I talked on earlier. I'm pointing at it like you can see it. And then I have a receiver to finish for someone back east, if he's listening. And then I'll be all ready.
Yeah, okay, Harvey. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off a little bit because I just spent $1,000. Damn it, I had to do the radiator, the thermostat, and everything on the car. And man, it's surprising what they charge in those garages. But anyway, we'll have it probably by the end of this month. You'll have it.
Okay, gives me time to work on other stuff and clean this radio room up. Okay, Dennis ought to be ready by now.
This is the I'm finally ready frequency. And when I'm ready, the crew points to the Mr. Announcement and the jingle singers, and they do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final totals. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. Here on your Old Tube Radio Network tonight, April Fools, right? No fools. And notice how quiet it is. Let me go to the DX map. Look, I don't see any openings. There's probably some stations up on 10 meters. Yeah, they're probably doing FT8. You can see up along the, where can you see that? Along the West Coast. Yeah. West Coast probably doing FT8 to the islands. But here, where we are, it's local, and that is a good thing. Your Old Tube Radio Network tonight, sounding good. Thanks everybody for your participation. Your radio's doing good. And Eric D, yeah, we missed it by that much, making it to 10 radios tonight. We did have 17 SWLs on page 1, 19 on page 2, 18 on page 3, and 23 on page 4 for a total of 77. Good to hear the boys up in Yaqui checking in on the remote. We're going to get a remote, see if we can get Jimmy and the gang up there near Chicago next week to check in live. Maybe give us a report on what's happening on the various sites and what's going on up there. We'll see if we can do that. In the meantime, we had, and I didn't mark the last radio down. Yes, I did. We had 9 radios. And the most heard manufacturer appears to be, I'm checking here. Yeah, it appears to be a tie between the Brownings and the Johnsons and the Robins. I thought we might have had 2 general radio telephones, but we didn't. So here we go. It's nice when we can kind of, as they say, spread the wealth here on the frequency. Air Castle JE321 from something you would order back 50 years ago from your Spiegel catalog. The ECI courier helping them out to put something in the catalog because Sears had E.F. Johnson in their catalog. Sounded very good. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSBJT making its Bon Voyage transmission as it heads across to be a featured item on the old Radio Night. Heard before this net from the Wasama Swamps of South Carolina. Look for it on an ORN near you. Radio number 3, the E.F. Johnson Messenger TWO. Thanks, Joe, for that. Mike brought by the 2 Robins. He knew he could get a tie for first place by doing that. The T123B and the T123 and the T123B for radios 4 and 5 respectively. Radio number 6, Chris, on the general radio telephone. In between all the glorious things happening with Moses and the gang out there tonight. So thanks for jumping in to give us that. The 7-tube 8-channel World Radio Lab hustler, Leo Meyerson, would be proud to know that in the 21st century, the radio is looking good and sounding good. Thanks, Joe. Also on his E.F. Johnson Messenger 223 for Radio 8, and as you heard moments ago, from the west side. We used to call Harvey out on the west side, and then he moved closer, but he's still out on the west side. And you heard the inimitable, is that the right word? The Browning Laboratory Golden Beagle, the R68 T68. Your old tube radio network, beaconing from the Central Valley of California most Saturdays, thanks to our shortwave listeners and tube radio operators. The month of April, the year is 2023, and something we've been doing for a long, long time, and enjoy doing it, and glad to see that people are out and about and still want to get on the radio. That's a good thing. Hopefully you do too. Don't forget to keep studying for your amateur radio license upgrade or first ticket. If that's where you want to go, the bands have been pretty good, so don't miss out. 73, everybody. And we will talk to you later here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you very much, Dennis, 449er. Mr. Smitty, wishing you all a great evening.
And full quieting with no skip at S7.
Well, we're cheating. We're a little bit closer to you now.
All right. Well, cheating is allowed on a Saturday evening. And hello to Two Whiskey 2600. The Mudbucket out there, 483. Anyway, sounding good. Go to the Orban meter. A little bit of static, but it's nice. It is nice not having our static at S9, so I'm glad that went away. Do we have time? Do we want to try some, before we get out of here, some HF DX? I don't think 10 is open. I'm getting tangled up in the wires. What I'm going to do, go to 10 meters quickly. See if we can find any beacons here. And it's pretty quiet. And get to the right thing. I'm not even hearing any FT8. So we're there. Let's go to 40 meters. Get on the antenna.
Two call. Kilo Bravo 7, Bravo India Bravo. This is W6ALY. Thank you, Brian. I'm going to break with you and go to line 31, Kilo Echo 8 Golf.
I'm not sure what's going on. 40 meters.
Really?
In good shape. At 10 o'clock.
Long.
They're 7235.
About 39 feet of ladder line and then 100 feet of LMR 400 into the shack here. Okay, well that's good. I'm glad to hear I have a clean signal.
And that's
I don't know how you can have a radio that you
that's Dave in Arizona
so much and have it be a pain in the ass all at the same time.
So there you go. All right, good night, everybody. The band is open. Have fun.
It's I gotta say, it's these SDR radios. They need another 10 years to work out all the kinks, I think, because it is what it is. Have a friend down the street that just got himself a, what is it? It's another SDR. I'm sorry, it's probably I can't remember. I think it's an Apache Lab. It's the 7000 MK2, I think, is what it is. I'm not sure if that's a Apache Lab or another manufacturer. But at any rate, all right, I'm going to go back to gear.
Okay, control room mic, and let's see if I can... All right, I think I've found the microphonium, KB6GFD.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not want to keep you up too late.